Good day and welcome back. My name is Abby. As I was sitting, I came with a way to combine all of the topics that are covered in ICDN 1 and ICDN 2 CCNA certification. So I decided to do a lab. At first, before I went to this packet tracer, what I did a design on paper. As you can see here, I decided that I'm gonna have use this kind of a lab web or this kind of a design whereby we'll be having our core switch here, and then with three IGF switches. So what's happening is that our core switch has a routing capability, so it will be connected to our sorry, to the ISP router. So the main things that I'm going to configure today, I'll be configuring VLANs, VTP, STP, port channeling, and trunking only for this lab. Then for the next video clip, then we're going to put another topic. We just decide which one can we put, maybe port security and so forth. Then these are the VLANs that you're going to configure. Then these VLANs, they have to be available on the MDF. Some of them have to be only on the MDF. So meaning to say that we want to only configure the VLANs here and populate them to the other switches, to the IDF switches. But then there are certain VLANs which we don't want them to be populated to the IDF switches. For instance, we're having the server VLAN. We know that our server room will be connected to the main switch. Yes, to the main switch or to the core switch. So meaning to say that there is no need for us to have a VLAN server over here, because we don't have any server that we want to connect there. For security reasons, we just want this server VLAN to be maintained within our MDF. Then like the private lab and as well as the DMZ, only the client voice must be available to all of the switches, and the client data as well as the management VLAN, so that we can be able to connect to these switches remotely. Then let's start. Okay, let me just close this one. Then this is our timer. Okay, you can put it there. Then this is the lab that I was designed. Then I didn't configure anything there. Then we're having all the VLANs that I just explained. In addition, because of our core switch has a routing capability, we are going to use port 1 as a routing port to the ISP router, which will be using this range of IP. Then the rest of the VLANs will be using 10.1. Then the second one will represent the VLAN, as like when you see 10.1.10, we know that that is the client voice VLAN, and then we know that when you see 60, we represent management. Okay, let's start configuring these. All right. Okay, before I go to the configuration, you can see that there's red here, which means there's no any sort of communication between these devices. The reason is because remember what's happening with the Cisco IP phones is that they are designed in such a way that they have got a mini switch built in on them, meaning to say that when, let's say, this represents your desk, this is your desk, you'll be having IP phone and your PC. You don't need to have two cables connecting to the switch, only one cable to the IP phone, and then the IP phone has a built-in switch whereby you can connect your PC. Then one thing that we need to do, since well these are not the they are not power over Ethernet switches, no, so we have to provide power to our Cisco IP telephone. Yes. Okay, as you can see now, it's coming up. Just quickly do that. There we go. There we go. Last one. There we go. Okay, it's connected. It's fine. Okay, now let's start. Okay, I don't want to do that. Just want to do it like this and put it there. Okay. All right. Then now let's start with the basic configuration, which are obvious. Then config terminal, then hostname, MDF. This will be our host name. Then from there, let's configure the management VLAN to start with. We are not configuring VLANs now, but I just want to configure the management VLAN. I don't know why, but that's how I start management VLAN. Okay, I'm just gonna go to exit and type VLAN data. You can still configure VLAN. You can still configure VLANs on the global configuration mode, but then I prefer doing it right here on the exec mode. Database. There we go. Then I'm just gonna say VLAN 60 name management. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly copy this. What did I do? Okay. Okay. VLAN database. Oh gosh. Sorry. This is supposed to be. Let me copy this. The reason that I want to copy this, I want to put it on a okay. Let me use copy. I want to put it on Notepad so it can be easy to populate to other. There we go. Okay, now it's easy now. Then we can close this one. I don't know what is this. Okay, it's fine. Then it can be easy in that way. Then it's configured. Then exit. It's fine. If we say show VLAN, there we go. We've got our management VLAN. Then we're just gonna configure. Let's configure the password before you forget. Then enable secret as able. Then line console password as AB, save password. We are not concerned that much about security. Then login, enable login, exit. Then let's configure the line VTY from 0 to 4. That's the number of sessions that we can have simultaneously. Then password going to be AB. Let's allow login, this login, and exit. Okay. Then now let's if we do show IP interface brief, you can see that we have only one VLAN. The other one that we created is not there now because these are the interfaces, which means that this is a visual interface representation of VLAN 1. So we want to have VLAN, our management VLAN, which means we're just going to say interface VLAN 60, and we can configure IP address for that. We just say IP address 10.1.60 representing our VLAN, then put as one IP address. Okay, 255.255.0/24. Then no shutdown. Good. Then now we can go back. Let's say okay, let's do show IP interface brief. Then there we go, is down, but then we said no shutdown. Why is it down? The reason that is down, this is the reason. Let's do show VLAN. The reason that is down is because, as you can see, the default one, VLAN 1, almost all of the ports they are assigned to VLAN 1. So this one will remain inactive because of it will reflect as being the protocol being down. As you can see here, this represents the protocol has been down because there is no any interface that is assigned to that VLAN. We'll sort that one out. Okay, it's fine. Then the next thing that we'll do now, the other switches, I'm just going to populate the password configurations. The password that we just configured, we're just going to configure them on even on this side, only their password. Then let me just quickly pause these. Alright, I'm back. What I did, I configured the passwords here and the same password with the other one, and again I just renamed these switches as IDF1, what was this, IDF2, IDF3. So now let's proceed. Based on this, what we're going to do now, we're going to configure the port channels: port channel 1, port channel 2, port channel 3. Then this side, port channel 1, port channel 1, port channel 1. It doesn't matter because of they are different. They are on the different devices. That's why you are seeing each and every those. The other one is disabled, is amber, because of they are not port channels. They are not grouped yet. They are just acting as individual. So let's try to clarify that one. Then this will be interface range bus Ethernet 0 from 2 to 3. Then this channel group, then channel group 1, first one, then mode on. There we go. Then as you see, they just restarted themselves. Then exit. Then let's go to 4 to 5. Then this one will be channel group 2, which is port channel 2. There we go. Then let's exit. Then let's go to port 6 to 7. Then this will be our port channel 3. Port channel 3. There we go. Okay. Exit. Exit. Then just save configurations. Okay. Then we come also this side. I come this side. Let's we are on the IDF1. This is our IDF1. We're just gonna configure the same thing. Okay. What you're gonna do here, we're gonna configure the port channel. Okay. Config T. Then interface. What's it on? 1 up to 2. First Ethernet. Okay. Range. Then channel group 1. Mode 1. Okay. Exit. There's someone who's knocking on my door. Just hold on. Okay, I just attended that someone. Do you want to know who was that? Okay, no problem. I won't tell you. That's fine. Let's continue. Then we are on IDF1. Just configure that. Okay, port channel 1, port 1 and 2. Okay, just escaping. Okay, it's fine. Exit. Okay, let's go to this one. In fact, I'm not supposed to close that one because you're coming back again. Then in this, just gonna go to config terminal, then interface range, first Ethernet port 1, then port 2, then channel group 1, mode 1, mode, exit. Okay, now we have got our channels configured. Then what we need to do now, okay, let's recap now. This one is coming up. Then what we did, we configured this one, these channels here as port channel 1 this side, port channel 2 this one, port channel 3 in respect to our core switch. Then in respect to IDF1, then this one is port channel 1, port channel 1, port channel 1 as well. So they are configured. So what we need to do now, we need to configure these switches before we can even start by with which, okay, there are two things here. It's either we can start configuring these switches as the VTP clients, or we can start as well as this one as a VTP server, or we can start by just populating the VLANs. Okay, let's just start by populating the VLANs. Okay, what we're gonna do here, we're gonna say okay, MDF, it's fine. VLAN, we're just configure, we are creating VLANs now, the other VLANs. Okay, since we are creating the VLANs, let me just put it this way so we can be able to see our VLANs. VLAN database, then the first one is VLAN 10, which is name, client, client voice, second one being client data with VLAN 20, the third one being VLAN server being 30, okay. Next it will be public Wi-Fi. So we are still going to connect our access points. This will be 40. This will be 40. Then the next following one is management. We have created management. We can just go to MDZ, yes. Okay, I'm just trying to curve. Then good, the routing interface. Okay, we'll go to that one. Exit. Now let's say show VLAN. There we go. We have managed to populate or to create our VLANs, but as you can see, there's no any port assigned to that. So even though we can say show interface, show IP interface brief, you won't see those VLANs. Oh wow, look at this. The only VLAN that we can see is this one because we have configured the IP for it, but it still reflects as down because nothing has been configured. Nothing, there's no port that is assigned to that VLAN. But the other things that you can see here is the port channels, those which means here we know that this is port 2, fast Ethernet port 2, and fast Ethernet port 3. Then this one is 4, 5, then this one 6 and 7. Okay, it's fine. They show up, no, it's fine. Okay, then now what we're going to configure, let's see, let's cap. We'll configure our VLANs. Our VLANs are configured, but they are here. Let's check here if those VLANs are there. Show VLAN. No, we don't have them, and that's my expectation. But then we are not going to configure them here because we are going to use VTP. So since we are speaking about VTP, let's configure the requirements of VTP. Then VTP, we have to start. Let's start by configuring the VTP domain. Domain. What am I typing? Okay, domain. Then our domain will be Malimatsa. Yes, that's my surname.com. Okay, so meaning to say that any client VTP switch will have to have similar case sensitive domain name. It have to be in that way so that they can be able to have access to our VLAN. Then the other thing that we can configure in terms of for security reasons, okay, this one before the mode, before I configure mode, there are three types of mode, but we are focused on the client server and the client and the server. The transparent, this is a silent guy. The ignorant guy, just ignore everything, just pass everything to the other switch. So we're not going to talk about that one. So what happens is that by default, Cisco switches, they are set to server mode. So you need to change, which means each and every switch in this lab, they have capabilities to create VLANs. We don't want that. We don't want that. We don't trust these guys. We only trust this one. So we want all the VLANs to be created on the core switch. Okay. Then we'll say server. This will be our server mode. But it'll tell you that this exists. Device mode already VTP server. Okay. The other thing, remember, in order for this guy to be able to have the VLANs that are configured here, the first thing he has to have the correct domain name, the case sensitive domain name, which is in this regard is malemaza.com. It have to be in that way. Then another thing that we want to require is the VTP password. We want that this client must have the same password as the core switch. Then this, in this regard, okay, let's use Javu. Don't ask me who's that, but let's use Javu as our password. Okay, there we go. Then it's fine. Then the vision that we're gonna use version VTP version 2. There's 1 and 2. Of course, in the latest switches there's 3, but in this regard 1 and 2. Then we're gonna use 2. Okay. Then we are done with our VLANs. We can still show our VLANs. There they are. Okay. Then one thing that we can do before we go to configuring, okay, since we're on the VTP, I wanted us to configure this to remove the first port on the core switch from layer 2 to layer 3, so that this can be a routable layer protocol, if I put it in that way. Before that, let's configure these switches as clients, VTP clients. Okay, config, then VTP mode client. Then remember, they won't have access yet. They have to have the correct password and correct domain. So I'm not going to configure that now. I'm just going to leave it as it is. For now, just going to put them as VTP clients. VTP clients. So I want to finish first VTP mode clients. Yes, just like that. Then to the other one. What's the password here? What's the password? What's the password? What's the password? AB. Okay. AB. Terminal. Then VTP mode client. Okay, let's try something. Just want to see. Let's say VLAN. This one is just a test. Just came to my mind now. VLAN database, because we do know that there are clients that are not supposed to create VLAN, but then let's practically check if that is true. VLAN database. Oh, we are there. Wow, this is bad. This is bad. Let's create another VLAN. VLAN 100. Name. VLAN test. Apply not allowed when device is in client state. Exactly my expectation. Okay, exit. Let's go out. Okay, what we did is that this core server, our core switch has been configured as a VTP server, and these are the VTP clients. So now, before we proceed, let's remove this port from the layer 2. Then what you're gonna do, you're gonna config terminal. Then let's go to interface, fast Ethernet port 1. Then switch port. Let's say no. Okay, look at this. I'm on that port now. If I say IP, you see unrecognized command, because this is not a layer 3 port or layer 3 switch yet. It's operating on layer 2. So what we need to remove it from the layer 2 switch to layer 3 device capabilities. We're gonna say no switch port. No switch port. Just no switch port. Okay, it went down and came up again. Now let's try our command. IP, what is it? Okay, IP IP address. Okay, there we go. Then let's put our IP address 172.16. I'm looking on this one. This one is 2 and this one is 1 on this range. Then 16.1.2, then 255.255.252/30. Okay, no shut down. Okay, exit. Then my expectation, if let's go to this side, let's assume that the ISP have configured their interface enable interface is on the router interface. Let's see. Okay, interface. So then IP address 172.16.1.1 255.255.255.252. Good. No shutdown. No shutdown. Exit. My expectation is that from here, from the router, we should be able to ping our interface on the core switch, which is 1.2. Okay, there we go. Okay, we are done with the ISP router. We apologize, ISP. We are not going to configure anything from your side. Okay, let's start from this side. 172.61.1.2.1. We're pinning 1. Oh no, that's incorrect. This is 61. It's not 61. It's not supposed to be 61. That was an incorrect IP. My bad. My apology. There's 61.1.1. There we go. 100%. Then now we are done. Then this is no longer on the switch interface. Then let's continue. We have populated all our VLANs here. Then we've configured this as clients VTP. Then what we need to do with okay, another thing, we've configured this as port channels and port channels and port channels. Another thing that we need to do is to configure these as trunks. Okay, let's do that. We'll start with the first one, which is interface port channel 1. Then what we're gonna do, what are we configuring? Okay, we're configuring the port trunks. Then just gonna say, okay, let me explain something here, just brief. When you say switch port mode trunk, this is the most important command. That is the one that will change this to trunks. But we don't want to do that now because there are other things that are involved. Then what we're gonna do is say switch port trunk encapsulation, then .1Q. This is what we're gonna do. Then the other thing that we need to do in terms of allowed VLANs, the allowed VLANs. So I'm just gonna quickly so let's say allowed VLANs. The first VLAN that I want us to allow, let it be only 60. Only 60. Allowed VLAN 60. This is the allowed VLANs. Then now we can use the switch port mode trunks. See what happens. They went down and they came up again. So we can do the same thing this side by just root interface port channel 1. Then switch port mode trunk. There we go. Now they are trunks. Then let's go back, exit. So the expectation is that when you say show VLAN, we should have all the VLANs available. show VLAN. No, nothing. Yes, you won't have any VLANs because of, remember, we have configured this core switch having the domain name and having the password. So it's protected by the domain name and it's protected by the password. That means that in order for us to have the VLANs or populated to this same switch, we have to configure this the domain name and the password on the switch. So let me just say before that, let me say show, is it IP trunk interface trunk. Yes, look at this. This is what you are having. It shows that the port channel 1, which is having 1 and 2, it's on and is using .1q encapsulation, and its status is on trunking, and the native VLAN is still using 1. Then the same thing. So what we're going to do now, we're going to try to configure the VTP domain as like as malimata.com. That's the first one. Domain name is already configured. Okay, then VTP password Java. Good. Setting device VLAN database password to Java. Okay, it's fine. Let's see now our VLANs. Show VLAN. There we go. Now we all have the VLANs that we created from core switch, which means now because of we have managed to configure the right domain name, which is malimata in small caps.com, and another thing, we have managed to configure the password which is Java. Then that now there's a full communication in terms of VTP between this and that cell. But then look at this, they are allowed, but they are populated, but let's check this command, VTP show ITP trunk. Look at this, all of them VLANs allowed and active in management domain. All of them, they are active. Is that what we wanted? No, we don't want that. So we are going back. We are going back. We are going back. Which one is this? We are going back. This command, switch port trunk allowed VLAN. Exit. Let's come back here and see if show what's happening. Oh yeah, now remember we did not configure this on this side. Config T. Okay, let me just, before we configure this, let me see if the command have got a difference this side on the main switch. Show interface trunk. Okay, there we go. Okay, it's configured this side, meaning to say that only VLAN 60 can have communication from this switch to that switch, but the other VLANs, they will just appear there, but they don't have communication. So even this side, we need to hard code that one and say that on interface port channel 1, we want to say switch port trunk allowed VLAN 60. Okay, let's do like this. No. Okay, canceling it. Just want to do a quick test. I like verifying things because some of the things we just read about them, but we are not sure if they really work in that way. What I need to do, let's say interface, let's say show interface brief, show IP interface brief. Okay, that VLAN is not there. Then let's say config. Let's configure the VLAN interface 60 because we have it. Then the IP address as IP address 10.1.60. This one is .1, then this one will be .2, .2, 255, .255, .255, .0. No shutdown. Okay, good. Now let's say ping 10.1.60.1. My expectation is because of uh, 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 good. Then now, let's go this side. Just want us to do a very tricky test. Config T. You see that port 60. I mean, VLAN 60 is allowed on port channel 1 or on the first track. Then I just want to disable that and see what will happen. Allowed VLAN. No, let's go to okay. Let's go to allowed VLAN. Let's say allowed VLAN none. Allowed none. Is it VLAN none? Yes. Let's try to ping that one. We won't have any response, meaning to say that the VLANs, even though we had an IP address assigned to the public Wi-Fi, for instance VLAN, you won't be able to reach it if that VLAN is not allowed. So that's why it's very important for us to say there are certain VLANs that we want them to be allowed on the core switch as well as on the IDF switch. So let's just revert that what we did. This was done on allowed VLAN. Remember, for now we're just allowing 60. Then this side as well, we want to allow 60. Exit. And let's check show interface trunk. See, only VLAN 60 is allowed. So, which means, in short, communication in terms of VLANs, the other VLANs will be reachable if or only on the core switch. But then the other ones, except the management VLAN, that is the one that you can be able to configure in some sort. So let's proceed. What's next? Okay, the next thing, let's allow, okay, let me do this. I'm just going to quickly pause the video. What I'm going to do, I'm going to configure this as trunk. I'm going to configure the trunk and enable the trunk side and configure the pass switch for the switch and be able to have the VLAN 60 available on both switch. Or before I do that, because I want to populate other, let's go back and say that from here we don't want to allow which one is this? MDF. Okay, let me just exit so that I can be able to know where I am. Port 1. Then VLANs, the VLANs that we want to allow. Yeah, these are the VLANs that we want to allow. We want to allow VLAN the 10. Okay, VLAN 10, 20, 40, 60. Why am I entering 60? Yes, the reason I'm entering 60 is because if you say VLAN allowed, let's say we have allowed 60, but then you type 10, 20, 30, 40, it will remove, it's deleting everything that was allowed with the current list that you are entering. It's either you can use add as an option. Then just want to do like that. Let's say exit. Then show trunk, as you can see, to 10, 20, 40, 60. So I'm just going to populate everything to be on the same standard this side for the VLANs that are allowed that side to be allowed within this site, and again to enable the trunk which we did on this side, and also configure the VLANs that are allowed on this side. Then from there we will continue. Just gonna Okay guys, I'm back. Yes, let me just quickly update what I did. I've configured these two switch to be with their VTP passwords and the domain, the correct domain, and they're working. So what we can just quickly check, we can just go to the first one. Okay, this one have been tested. I've been tested with you. And let's go to the last one. Then if you check, okay, let's just do show IP interface brief. As you can see here, we have got the interface of VLAN 60 being up with the IP address for 4. Then what we can do, we can just try to ping where we ping here. Okay, from here we can ping here and ping here and ping this one. Let's see if it's happening. Ping the core switch. There we go. Then let's ping the first IDF switch. There we go. Let's ping the second IDF switch. Okay, there we go. Then everything is working fine. So now let's recap what we have done. We have managed to configure the VLANs. We have entered all the VLANs, and we have managed to configure the VLAN management interface so that I can have our gateway. So meaning to say that from here we can be able, since we have configured the password, we can be able to telnet from this core switch to the other switch and to the other switch and to the other switch. We can just quickly test that to see if it's possible. Just to do a test telnet. Let's say telnet 1 2 160.4, the last one. Password it's there you go. We are on the IDF3. So from IDF3 we can be able to do other configuration. Maybe. There you go. Then we can just exit MDF. Yes, we are back on the MDF. So now what I want us to do, I want us to configure these two. Okay, before we configure these two, I want us to create an interface. Remember the reason we created a VLAN, a management VLAN interface on this switch. The reason is that we want to be able to reach these switches remotely. But then for other VLANs, only interface will exist on the core switch. Then for now, what I want us to do, I want us to configure the client data VLAN. So what I did here, as you can see, there's an IP address for this data client, which is 10.1.20.20, representing the VLAN for client data, which is VLAN 20. Then the IP address of 100. Then what I'm going to do, before we go forward, I also configured the default gateway, which is 10.1.20.1, which will represent the VLAN interface for client data. So what I need us to do now, I want us to configure the okay, before that, because this one it's a little bit tricky, there are two things involved on one port. So let's start with the server VLAN. The server VLAN is VLAN 30. There we go, the server VLAN is VLAN 30. So let's configure the interface for VLAN 30. Config terminal, then interface VLAN 30. The IP address of this interface will be IP address 10.1.30.1 255.255.255.0. Of course, someone can say, no, the subnet, you're wasting a lot of IPs because you're only having one server. It's fine. I'm not focused on the subnet. Then we'll have another another time to focus on the subnetting and the root summarization. There we go. Oh God, what happened? Yeah. Okay, before we close, what I'm gonna do? I can't. Yo, this is bad. This is very bad. This is very bad. Okay, let me just pause. Alright, I'm back. Yes, of course. What happened is that my packet tracer got crashed. Then I had to start from scratch, build everything until now as on that state. Then let me just quickly update you on the current state where we are now. Is that we have created all the VLANs. Then and we have configured the VTP as this being the server and this being the clients. Then everything now we are pushing all the VLANs, but then there are certain VLANs which are not allowed to make any connection from the MDF and the IDF. Then the VLANs that are allowed, it's let's just quickly check. If you do show interface trunk, then you can see that we are having yes sir, yeah, you can see that we're having port channel 1 whereby we are allowing only 10, 20, 40, 60. Port channel 3 we're allowing 10, 20, 40, 60. Port channel 2 we're allowing almost all of them. That's something that we need to fix, which is one. And okay, let's just quickly fix that one now. Then this is done by config t, then interface port channel, that is port channel 2, then allowed VLANs should be somewhere here. Okay, it's not there. Let's say switch port trunk, allowed VLAN 10, 20, 40 and 60. That should be the VLANs that are allowed on that port. Then let's quickly validate if that's okay. There we go. Now everything is fine. So what's happening now? We're gonna proceed. We're gonna proceed by assigning the ports, as you can see from this switch. If you check on this switch, if you say show VLAN, you can clearly see that they are all of the ports, they are assigned to VLAN 1, and we are not choosing VLAN 1. We want the clients to be assigned to VLAN 10 for voice, and VLAN 20 for client data. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna set up the VLAN for the interface for VLAN client data, which is VLAN 20. And let's just quickly do that. Config, so that we can be able to have our default gateway. Then config, then interface VLAN 30, no, VLAN 20. The IP address being 10.1.20.1, 255.255.255.0. okay, then from there let's again do VLAN this one, the VLAN for server, VLAN 30. The IP address being 10.1.30.1, 255.255.255.0. okay, there we go. Then now what are we gonna do? We're gonna start by assigning on these ports. Let's say exit, let's say show VLAN. We're gonna extract VLAN port 10. This is a port 10 as being this one, from VLAN 1 to VLAN 30, so that it can be able, for instance, now if you go here and check okay, desktop IP command, if we check IP config is 2, then let's try to ping 10.1.30.1. that is our default gateway. Then the reason that we can't ping the default gateway is because of the port 10 on this call switch is assigned to VLAN 1, and the VLAN that we are, or the subnet that we are on the server, is not on VLAN 1, it's on VLAN 30, which is our server VLAN. And another reason is that the default VLAN, we're not using it. We don't have an interface, routing interface for the VLAN 1 as our default VLAN. So what we need to do now, we're just gonna open this. Sorry, let me open this, and let me put it like this side. Then let's continue pinging that so that we know how the changes are applied. Let's just do a continuous ping. Then let's open this one, minimize this one, and there we go. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to remove that port 10 to be assigned to VLAN 30. So that is config terminal. Then we go to interface port 10. Then we're gonna say switch port access VLAN VLAN 30. Exit. Then we should be able to ping it when it's from this VLAN. Let's just check if I ping the correct thing. 10 1 30 VLAN. Yes, we should be able to. Exit. Okay. Let's say do show. My expectation is that we are supposed to be able to reach this. Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay. So it took a little bit of some seconds. So okay. Then now we can minimize. So let's see from this side if we do show VLAN and see the changes. Can you see now the port 10 is no longer part of VLAN 1, is now part of VLAN 37. So we're gonna do the same thing when it comes to and just let me close this and minimize this and minimize this, and let's open the this one. Okay, so now we want to do the same thing. We want this phone to be on VLAN for client voice, and this PC to be on VLAN data. You will see the trick because we are using one port. So what I'm gonna do, I just quickly let me just check something so that we can just make it standard. From here, if you check, we have got almost like oh, it's moving out. Okay, we can use, let's use from port 10. Where are we connecting the PC? Let's check. We are connecting it from port 5. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take port 5 until 24 to be on the voice VLAN and on the data VLAN, port 5 to 24. So let's quickly do that. Okay, then that is config team. Then I'm gonna say interface range fast Ethernet port 5 to 24. Then switch port access VLAN what is the VLAN for data? VLAN 20. That is for data. Another thing, then we're going to say these ports, we also want them to be on voice VLAN 10. There we go. Then now we can do our test. Let's go back and try to see if we can be able to, something is running, is consuming my resources. Issue detected. Oh, I saw this issue detected. Okay, so this I'm running this antivirus, so it's slowing down my PC because I know that at around 7, that's why it starts doing its full scan. Okay, it's fine. Then on the PC, what we're gonna do, we're gonna check IP config. What is that? IP config. Okay, we are on 100. Then let's ping our default gateway 10.1.2.1. Okay, we are able to reach the interface which is here. So let's do something now. We should be able to also reach the other interface. Let's reach the interface for server 10.1.30.1. Okay. Okay, my expectation is that we should be able to reach it. Let's just quickly do something here. Let's see what can we solve. This is config. Let's see. Okay, IP routing. Okay, let's try again. Let's see. Okay, so what I did, let me just explain this short command. What I did, I just enabled. Remember, I said we are using a core switch which has got routing capabilities or abilities. What I did is I just enabled that function, that small thing that moves or deviate from being just a layer 2 to being layer 3. So what happens is that now we are able to, even though the VLANs are not being pushed to this what is it, to this access switches, but we can still ping that default gateway, and by saying so, which means we can still ping the if not by mistake, we can still ping the PCs that are within that VLANs. So what's going to happen is that this is going to be prohibited by the application of access controlling. So we're gonna just you can, let's say we are having I'll be sitting somewhere here, connecting my laptop. Then by doing so, we're gonna enable only my PC to have access to the servers and so forth. So now everything is configured. Then if we can check the site, we can just do a test a little bit on the other PC. IP config. Then let's try to ping. Oh, we will need to, we can ping it, I'm pretty sure. We will need to assign okay, while I was rebuilding, I didn't do the passwords as I told you that I've rebuilt. So if you check here, the commands that I use to type for the passwords, these are the commands: enable secret AB until here. So if I just take this one and just paste it, then just quickly check. Yes, it will enable secret password, console, and the VTP. Okay, they just quickly gonna say that's their config. Yes, you just say let's say config terminal. Then you can just paste those commands there, then it will work. These are the commands that we did before. Okay, it's fine. Then here, what we want to do, we want to take to say interface range from fast Ethernet 0, then port 5 until port 24. We want this to be able to switch access. We can start by voice, no problem. Voice VLAN, then the VLAN for voice is 10. Then you can come and say access VLAN 20. Okay, we can click here. We can even take the same commands. For instance, okay, let me show you how do you do this. Like for instance, we're gonna just type. Let's start from here. Let's say we want to do a spreadsheet. Just say config terminal, then interface range fast Ethernet slash 5 24. Then what we are saying is that we want to say switch port access VLAN 20. Then switch port access. Then this one is 10. This one is voice. So you can just quickly take that and paste it to the other switch. Just want to paste it there. So, and we can also paste this one, the other one for passwords. This was after my packet tracer just crashed. Then I had to rebuild everything. Then I didn't do the passwords, so that's why I'm just pasting this so I can have the same passwords. Good. And now we can do the testing. What happened here? What's wrong here? That is on 5 up to 20. Okay, it's fine. Then we'll just test. Okay, let's test now. Let's see if we are able to reach. Let's pin turn 1 20.1. Okay, then pin the other PC. The first one is 100. The second one is 101. Okay, let me check the time now. It's almost an hour. It's an hour now. It's fine. Then let's recap. We have configured all the what is it? Our VTP. VTP is working fine. So the other thing that I want to conclude is to configure SSH. Let's try to configure SSH. Let's say that you are here having a laptop somewhere there. Your laptop is configured. You are having a console port or a console cable connected to the core switch. That is how we want to start. Then you want to be able to connect to, since when you are in the MDF environment, you want to be able to connect remotely to this, not using telnet. We can test telnet for now, because I'm pretty sure that telnet is working fine. But then let's see, then to confirm that telnet is working, then just gonna say exit. We are on the MDF. Let me check something. We are on the switch. Yes, we are on the switch. What I'm gonna do, okay, yes, we are on that switch. So we are connected to using a terminal. Let's configure the host name, since it was configured before. Let's say host name, which is MDF. Yes, now you are on the MDF. Then you want to be able to access the, let me just quickly check here if okay, allow me to just quickly configure this host name. that is IDF host name IDF1. Yes, we'll use this one to test. It's fine. Then you are here. Then you want to be able to remotely access the switch. Then you can use at this stage. The only thing that you can use is telnet. You can say telnet, then type the IP address, which is 10.1.60.2. This is the IP address of this switch. You should be able to access that. Connection closed by foreign host. Okay. Let's quickly check from here. IDF1 if we did configure the password. No, there's no password. That's why you can't access. So which means we need to configure the passwords on this one. Since let's just wait for it to finish. While it's still finishing, then let's try to connect to this one, because I'm pretty sure that we did configure the password. Then sorry, wanted to try it from here. Then the other one will configure the password. So the reason that we can't telnet is because of there's no password here. Since I've repeated everything, there's no password here, but here we just configure the password, so we should be able to access to this one. Let's see, telnet, then that is 3, password, then AB. There you are. We are on this other switch. Then exit. Then we are back again. So for instance, now we want to be able to connect using SSH from here. Yes. Yeah. Then this one we are saying that we want to be able to connect using SSH. So let's start by configuring the password. The passwords. So we just want to copy everything here. Since we're having, you see how easy it is if you have created your commands in a notepad. It becomes much better. Okay. Then now, through a console cable, we want to configure this as an SSH server, so that when we come to this PC, we'll be able to connect to this core switch, not using telnet, because telnet is not secured, but using SSH, which is encrypted. So for you, there are certain requirements. In terms of telnet, you just need the password. Just need to configure the console password and the console password and the VTY password. That's only that you need. So, but in terms of SSH, you need to have an encryption technology or mechanism configured, and also the domain that you're going to use for the encryption. Not only that, but as well as the username. You see, Telnet doesn't use username, but then here you need username. So what we're going to do, let's say config. Remember now, I'm no longer going directly. I'm using my laptop to using the console cable. Yeah, so that is the real world scenario. Then I'm just going to say username. Let's use Dumelo as our user. Without password, it's fine. We're gonna use the console password. Then let's go to domain name, IP, domain name, yes. Then let it be the same one, malimata.com. Then crypto key generate RSA. Then the strong, how do you want the key to be strong? Then I'm just going to say 124. This is the moderate one. then it's generating. Then the other thing is IP SSH version 2. Only with those basic commands you should be having SSH configured. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna page, yes, and close everything. Then let's say now I come from this PC, we're saying we want to connect to that computer, that switch. Let's start by ping 10.1.60.1. See if we can reach it. We can reach it. If we can reach it, then let's try to SSH. You can just click SSH, then it should show you the format, which is SSH -L. Then username is Tumelo. I can't remember the case sensitive Tumelo. Yes, just Tumelo. The target is 10.1.60.1. Password is there we go. We are on that server now. I mean, we are on the I'm always working with server, forgive me. We are on that core switch. Then we can just do simple commands, show IP interface ref. Then there we go. You can just exit. There we go. Then you can close. So yeah, we have reached our limit in terms of time. As you can see, that is 1 hour and 10 minutes. I think it's enough in order to convert this video into MP4 so that all the text can be visible. Then let's just recap what we did. Everything that was expected for this lab. Then the next thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna connect these switches. These access switches, the one on the IDF. We're going to connect them. We're going to create another trunk port from this switch to this other one, and this other one to this one. The reason is, for instance, to eliminate point of failure, because if it happens that these two links, the connectivity fails between these two links, which means that the whole environment on IDF1 won't have access. So you want to provide a secondary link, but bearing in mind that connecting these switches together will eventually create a loop within our network, and then that's where we're gonna use spanning tree. Yes, baby, spanning tree. That is what you're gonna configure in the next I nearly said next nugget, because I'm always using the nugget, but in our next lab. I've enjoyed being with you. This was Abby. Then of course I'll be expecting your feedback based on this simple configuration, and have a nice day.